Welcome to the show, Lisa Lindo. You are a manager and producer of award-winning authors, screenwriters, and audiobook production. You've worked for Paramount Pictures, Leonardo Da Vinci Film Society, and now with Rocket Surgeon Productions, working on the young adult book series Battle for Forever, narrated by Wil Wheaton. As your career has progressed, you've been known for your Fifth Network dinners, hosting 100-seat monthly dinners for development, network, and studio executives with 1,000 members. There is a ton of stuff to talk about with you, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us, and please do tell us more.
Well, thank you for having me, both of you. It's an honor. Tell you more about me. Well, in this wonderful theme of what you're doing, which is music for global change, I can tell you that my journey from realizing how very important music was to film and television projects has been kind of a long one. And so one of my first jobs, I was working for Norman Lear, which was really incredible. I was working at Triad, and for some reason, our department, which was television packaging, butted up against the music department. So that side was always a different story than what was going on right here. And, we were representing amazing people, like Linda Carter and Carol Burnett and all these ridiculously, famous, wonderful people. And they were doing something else. And so to start, I was like, okay, that is something else. And one day my boss was like, look, I need you to give a note to that guy over there. He's one of the partners. And I'm like, oh, you mean the guy who looks like Harry Belafonte? They're like, no, that is Harry Belafonte. The guy who's next to him. That's who you're giving the note to. And I just started like being much more aware of how integral and how important what they were doing over there was what we were doing over here. And one of the first real opportunities to realize people didn't think of music right away. They made their project for film, they made their project for TV, and the last friggin' second, they're like, oh, wait, we have to do music. I remember we had a short film that did really well and got a lot of awards and made the rounds. And in that film, it opened with like a pile, this is a long time ago, a pile of VHS tapes as if they're ready to send it out for a film that they made. And on the wall behind them is a Post-it on the wall that says music, ? So it's just, we're inherently bad about it in film and TV, thinking about it often less instead of thinking about it first. And so that kind of really sort of just started to change my perspective on what we do and how we affect people with what we do. Mm-hmm. And so full circle now, I'm in a place where I represented Groove Guild, and Groove Guild's put Beatles songs and Neil Diamond songs and into stuff that they do. And always, every commercial that's theirs, it's theirs right away when you see it. They do these Volkswagen pieces, and it's got a song in it, and you just know because your heart is sort of soaring on a Volkswagen commercial. Wow. And you don't know what it is. It's because they picked a really amazing Beatles piece or a really amazing Neil Diamond song and put it together. And then sort of lastly, I was just recently working with one of my clients, Colin Aguiar, who's a composer, and he is doing all of the music for a feature called Everest Dark, where an actual Sherpa is going back up to get people that have passed away over the decades and are stuck there. And so that's his mission, to bring their souls back. And he has done the most amazing soundtrack. This isn't out yet. It's just about to premiere at a film festival. And he's used all local artisans to really give you the feel of how important actually music is to them. And everything that they do is they go up and down the mountain, but also to give you a sort of a soaring, uplifting feeling about what this mission is. So adding music to whatever we do has become sort of like something that's become a little more integral in what I do on a day-to-day basis. The music that was coming around in that time period was much more social change, making a difference kind of music. It was much more like a cadence, like a march, we have to do something. We have to make a difference. And even Harry Belafonte, actually, he was part of that big movement doing music that was part of a wave of American music that was fighting apartheid, that was specifically trying to overcome apartheid. You'd be surprised how many people in film and TV are so interested in like the script, or they're interested in the director, or they're, instead of starting with, well, what story are we going to tell? And so in this Everest Dark film, my composer's working on, his own, like, We Are the World. Like, everyone wants to do that. Who knows if it'll become that, but starting there, right? And then they're putting together all of the thousands of hours that they have edited to fit that. At this point in my life, my mother is the DJ of the house. We have an 87-year-old mom who lives in the house, and she has Alexa, right? So she could do anything. And she will play Danny Kaye, or she'll play Sabrina Carpenter. She'll bring us in and she'll say, do you know about Me Express? She's very, very cute. She'll play the Wicked soundtrack, and I'm like a real easy cry. Like if I hear If the World Was Ending, I hear the first few notes of it from JP Sachs, I'm out. I'm bawling. Wow. But sometimes my mom will call me in and she'll say, I have a present for you. And, she can't see really well. And she's got Alzheimer's, stage 6 and everything. She's got glaucoma, but she'll call my boyfriend and I in, and she'll say, I have a present for you. And she'll have found a song and she'll ask Alexa to play it. And that's her gift to us. So that's how important music is to me.
Wow. When somebody has a coma, has some tragedy and have a coma, and the first thing the doctors go get his favorite song. It's powerful.
Music penetrates people who have memory issues like nothing else in the world. You don't really realize it till you're dealing every day with someone who has Alzheimer's. But music is like so unbelievably powerful. It's like the communication between music and the body is more important than sight. It's more important than taste. It does something else. It lodges somewhere else in the body. It's absolutely. Did you see the new Jamie Foxx special yet?
I did.
First of all, cried through the whole thing. I'm an easy cry. Cried through the whole thing. But when he talks about his daughter coming in with the guitar.
Yeah. Passing the love down, right? Now, you know what Music for Global Change is about, right?
I have a basic concept, and I've listened to some of your interviews, but I would love to hear more.
Well, there's 5 billion love songs. And I'm going, do we really need another love song? I mean, what can't you hear? Any kind of situation you've been in has something to do with love. It's already been said before. But when I looked up, there was 192 million social conscious songs, which told me there's an audience for it, but there's no platform for it. You got rock, you got jazz, and all these different genres, but there's never been a social conscious music genre. And that's what we're creating here.
I love that. One of the things I was able to do once was that September 11th, after September 11th, there was a September 11th fund. And they found after about 1.5 years, 2 years, that there was a whole bunch of people that weren't asking for help. They had all the services. They had psychological services. They had financial services. They had health services. And there were certain people, maybe they were from the Latin community, maybe from the African American community, maybe from the Asian community specifically, that were choosing culturally not to get help. Right. I do not need help, but they needed help. They were people who were like never leaving the house or gathering up their children or running outside every time they heard a noise. Like they were still affected and they weren't doing the right thing. And we got Jose Feliciano. I don't know how. It was like this crazy thing, but somehow someone knew his wife, and his wife said, he wants to give you a song, and he gave us a song to put it in. And again, the first few notes before we made this film that people would be the first thing people would see when they came to a meeting with this organization to maybe then be, siphoned into whatever kind of help they need. And we had to do it in Chinese and English and Spanish, which is not easy to do something in 3 languages and translators and everything. And we interviewed all these people about everything that they went through. But his music was a perfect through line for all 3 communities, actually. And it was just, again, you hear that, sometimes you hear that, those first 2 notes on the piano. And that is all you need. That's all you need for anything. I mean, like we were talking about, you said Jamie Foxx is friends with your guy, and that special that he did. Well, I mean, yeah, I cried through the whole thing because he talked about how important music was to bringing himself out of what happened after his stroke. But I was lucky enough, one of the companies that I represent is like a like a t-shirt line, and a lot of music people were sort of into it, clothing line. So we sponsored a party that was at Jamie Foxx's house once. And so I got to meet him, he like threw his arms around myself and my boyfriend. And so I touched the man, right? And so I don't know if everybody would cry as hard as I did when he talked about what happened to him. I think they would. But for us, it was even more like, we're such fans, we're such supporters. It just killed me. And the fact that nothing was happening for him, that his vitals were all over the place and they were going to lose him. And his daughter had to sneak in to play the guitar for him. It was just, chills everywhere, just chills everywhere.
No.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled that you're giving a platform to people that are doing stuff like this. I'd love for you to talk to the guys over at Groove Guild, because there's a composer and a music supervisor team, and they're just amazing, and that's really what they're about too. So
to be able to make this happen, it's going to take a lot of conscious people. And the lyrics that I'm talking about, I narrow it down. I used to write all kind of social conscious songs about the environment, homelessness, women's empowerment. But then I wrote a song called Positive Vibes for some young people, some kids, and we're about to do an animation on it. The animation is going to be the verses, and then the hook, the choruses will be different countries with kids, and they come through their heart. Positive vibe, right? And you see all these different countries and all these kids involved. It's the most wonderful thing. I went to Ireland and put 12 kids on it. I'm having so much fun because what we've created here, Tom and I, is like we're introducing people behind the curtain. Like you name all these people and people don't know them, and then they've done some significant things to make the project happen. And so and I love it because everybody got a story. And let me get you back to yours, but I love that. We do have to come together. You don't want to watch a movie that doesn't have music.
You can't watch a movie that doesn't have music. You try to take the music out of a movie and then watch it. And it's complete, just with this documentary, the Everest Dark thing that they're doing about Mount Everest, that, I'm watching lots of versions of that doc with no music. And then I'm watching it with the temp track, which I know is nothing like what the music is. And then I see a few scenes with music now in it, and it is night and day. Yeah. But it's more than how important music is. It's knowing how important music is. What are we going to choose to focus on? What are we going to choose to put in our work? Every single film, no matter what it is, every single television show can take an opportunity, without it being preachy, to touch people and make a difference, especially right now. These next 4 years are going to be hard.
Oh my God. I got to say this because Tom and I had the conductor for a Skywalker, George Lucas's place. And he put the band together for George Lucas and all that. And he's, the trilogy, he was on, I was blown away by him, you know what I mean? Because he was telling all kind of stories, behind the scenes stories. But he said the same thing. It's like, they're called spotters. So you have some guys come in and then you look at the film with no music and then they mark it off. We'll put some here. We'll put some there. It was deep. It was really cool to see how they did it, right? Tom?
Yeah. I just want to talk a little bit about your dinners that you do, your network dinners. I mean, it seems like a heck of an undertaking that you have 100-seat monthly dinners that you do. Just want to know where the idea for that came from and sort of people that you get in these events that you host.
Well, it started when I was working at Triad, and before that I had worked for Norman Lear and I had worked at Paramount. And both of those places, it was where you're actually making content. And so it was much more of I have a backyard, let's put on a show kind of environment. Like people wanted to work together. They wanted to know about you. And it wasn't a competitive thing at Paramount. It didn't feel that way on the studio lot. It felt like everyone was working towards something together, right? Like a great TV show or great film. I was there. They did Princess Bride. They did Stand By Me. We did Fried Green Tomatoes. Norman Lear at the time had a television department, and he had the people who went on to create Friends. And before that, they did Dream On. He had the 7th largest theater chain in the United States. He had Act 3 Publishing. And so it just was this certain kind of like vibe, right? Like people you would hang out with after work. And then my boss one day said, I think you'd be a great agent. And someone else who worked there was like, I gave your name to someone at Triad. You'll thank me later. And I ended up getting a job working for the head of TV packaging. And I get there, and everybody else has started in the mailroom. Right. And because they started in the mailroom, sometimes you're in the mailroom for like over a year before you get on a desk. And I'm like, not just on a desk, I'm like on an inside desk. So jealousy. And so these people were so they were so mean. And so the dinners came from me going, okay, I am dealing with some people on the phone that are very kind and they're in development executives, or I'm dealing with people who are composers, or I'm dealing with people who are costumers or actors, or all these different people that come through an agency like that, which was later bought by William Morris. And they're not these agents. They're not everything you think of as the bottom of the food chain agents. And I thought, why don't I bring together these people who are kind, who are nice, and believe in making a difference in the entertainment industry, and believe in responsible programming. And that was it. That was the edict. You had to be nice. You had to believe in responsible programming, and you wanted to believe in trying to make a difference. And so we had a speaker at each of the dinners that would come in and talk about whatever they were doing. Like there was this really great volunteer clearinghouse, because sometimes when you want to be part of a charity or something, you don't want to like get stuck with them like calling you 45,000 times to show up to everything that they're doing after that. And this was something where it's like a Saturday kind of, I want to give back. They would have a list of things you could show up and stuff boxes or help clean up a house or whatever it was, right? Sing at a hospital or whatever. And so that's where it came from. It came from literally pulling together people that I thought were kind so that I could surround myself with those people because day to day at work, I mean, my boss was still to this day amazing. He's an amazing man. Rob Lee was great. And one of the other agents there who just passed away was a partner, amazing man, just some of the best people ever. But all the other like people that knew that if you're doing well, they might not get a promotion.
Oh, wow.
That's a different part of the entertainment industry that and that's why I started my own agency. So that's how Acme Talent and Literary began. I had a lot of connections. I think I could do this myself. I don't need to work with those kinds of people. And I was really lucky. We had the same agents working for me while I was CEO for 10 years. We only grew. Wow. We didn't have a turnover, which is ridiculous. In the entertainment industry, you're there someplace for like 2.5 years. You're like, you must really like it there. People don't they don't stay, right? They just don't stay. So, and I think it was because it came out of this ethos of, family is important, life is important, like the overall, let's have an overall picture of like what's the most important things, and then work to help the people that we work with through that. So that's how the dinners came about. A long answer to a short question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So who was some of your favorite social conscious music artists? Do you remember Marvin Gaye?
Of course.
The What's Going On album.
What's going on?
Right.
Stevie Wonder. Same thing, just speaking truth to power in a way that works decade after decade after decade.
John Lennon.
Oh.
Imagine. Mm-hmm. He was just talking about imagine peace, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's so many of them that write social conscious music, but there's no real, there's not a big enough audience for it because nobody does it consistently. And that's what we're after. I'm going to introduce new talent. Like I'm gonna put together for my festivals, like a 12-piece band, and they play behind all the singers, just like, Motown. I loved it because when I went to Motown Review when I was 10 years old, my mom took me and I saw the Supremes come out first, but they only sang 5 songs. And then Stevie Wonder came on. He sang 5 songs. Then the Four Tops came on. Then Marvin Gaye came on, right? One of our interviews with Mickey Stevenson, he's the guy that actually put Motown together. He's the one who put the band together. He's the one that found Stevie Wonder. And he's in his 80s right now. I love these stories because people, they're behind the scenes. Exactly what we do here. We're going to tell the story of people behind the scenes doing significant things for the world.
You have to create an awards program. You have to create an awards show that focuses on just that kind of music that's coming out, period. So that people know that there's an award they can get just for that. Maybe it exists and I don't know.
I love that idea, sister. Thank you so much.
Yeah. For people who want to know what you've got in the pipeline at the moment, what kind of social media, if you are on anything at all, what kind of social media you're on, maybe any websites you've got that people can go and see what you're up to, what your companies are doing.
So my production company is Rocket Surgeon Productions. In the last few years, we have produced audiobooks, as you mentioned at the top. Two of them are narrated by Wil Wheaton in this particular series. The third one is done by Ray Porter, both giants in narrating, audiobook narrating, and in sci-fi, right? And this series is about actually how we learn about history and what we don't know. And so I have a client wonderful man, Edward Savio, and he's got at this point, when he started writing them, he had these teenage kids. Now they're out of college. And the idea was he wanted to write something that was a superhero story, but he couldn't figure out exactly what their superhero power would be. And at the same time, he was trying to teach his kids that if they just put in enough time, because they were doing okay in school, they were doing okay. And he wanted to teach them if they just put in enough time, they could be great at anything.
Yeah.
And so he created a superhero kid that is 15 years old, but really it takes him 100 years to age a year, so he's 1,500 years old. So he has been at some of the most pivotal moments in history in his life. It's the Battle for Forever series, and the first book is Alexander X, and everyone should get it or give it to somebody as a gift. I'm Lisa Lindo on Blue Sky, which I recommend to everybody. I am Lindo exclusive on Instagram. I'm Lisa Lindo on Facebook. I'm Lisa Lindo on Twitter, which I haven't given up yet because Obama follows me, and I don't know if he'll ever follow me again anywhere. So I haven't given up my account yet.
Yeah. No, don't move. Even if you go, keep it for that, right?
Right? It's like, hey, you God. So that's really what I'm most focused on is that. We have a horror project we're working on, but if you hear Rocket Surgeon or you see my name anywhere, always reach out, always write to me. If you follow me on Blue Sky, I'm very political, so I apologize ahead of time.
Thank you.
Listen, namaste, my sister.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the privilege of your time.
Namaste.
Thanks for coming on and taking the time, okay?
Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all get together, music can save the world. Yeah. Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all come together, music can save the world. There's an urgency facing our humanity.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.